And good morning, all. It's Saturday morning. The cuckoo clock just went off, so it must be time to chat about keto. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, and I talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds on the ketogenic diet, and I like to talk to others about how they may be able to lose weight, improve health, and regain control of your lives. And there goes the grandfather clock. Love it when my clocks are closely aligned. Thank you very much. This is a live recording. If you are not seeing this between the hours of 11 a.m. Eastern Time and about 11:45 Eastern on Saturday morning, the 20th of January, it is not live. You're welcome to comment, but I won't be here. Thank you so much if you'll indulge me as I share this with a couple of other places. It's always a little ritual I go through. I share it to my page. Today's topic is about food, just food in general on the ketogenic diet. It's a topic, obviously, that is central to the entire program. What is not necessarily central is having to obsess about the food. Frankly, one of the benefits for me, in my experience, was how this nutrition protocol, excuse me as I type, allowed me to no longer focus on food. Food is great. Food is yummy. Food is an important part of our lives. We must consume food in order to continue living. But it doesn't need to be the central part of our lives. It doesn't need to be the focus. And it has become the focus for many of us, to our detriment. Now, if you are super focused on food, if it's your favorite hobby is thinking about, preparing, consuming, reading about food, and it works for you and you're happy, that's great. But if you would like to be released and free up space in your brain and time in your day, the ketogenic diet is great for that. For those of you who don't know, the ketogenic diet is one in which you reduce your carbohydrate intake to about 20 grams total or fewer a day. You reduce your carbohydrate intake to the point at which your liver stops producing glucose out the other end. And when that glucose tap is kind of turned off, and if your body's been burning glucose for fuel, it happily switches to burning ketones or fat for fuel. That's what the ketogenic diet means. One of the natural effects of burning fat for fuel, when you're burning fat for fuel, you flipped over from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner, is your appetite is reduced. So you should think less about food. But let's step back a bit. A question that comes up, I get the question personally. I feel many messages a day. And for people, particularly those just beginning, the question often is, bluntly, how much food should I eat? You know, it's a normal question. It's understandable. But if you follow the tenets of the ketogenic diet, the way I understand them and follow them, keep your total carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. Total, not net. Eat fatty sources of protein. Don't eat if you're not hungry. And stop when you're satisfied. That's it. The program, and I follow the program as laid out by Dr. Eric Westman of Heal Clinics and Duke University, is he doesn't teach measuring anything other than carbohydrate. And that you really don't even, it's not like measuring with a ruler. You measure it by keeping vegetables to a maximum of about a cup, or about the size of one fist, pre-cooked, of non-starchy vegetables a day, and about 2 cups of leafy greens a day. You don't have to have that many. I go many days with no vegetables. Carbohydrate is not an essential nutrient, contrary to popular belief. So anyway, That's really all you measure. If you follow the other tenets, eat fatty sources of protein, don't eat if you're not hungry, and stop when you're satisfied, that amount is going to be what it's going to be. I have no idea how much I ate in the beginning. I ate more than I do now. I was heavier as of yesterday, I haven't looked today, as of yesterday, I'm 100.5 pounds lighter than I was this day in 2001. So that means 17 years ago, when I was in my early 40s, I weighed 100 pounds more than I do now. So don't let anyone tell you that you get too old to get healthy and lose weight. I'm postmenopausal. I didn't start this until I was 55. It's never too late. Okay? So, that aside. But at 100 pounds heavier, I had more mass. I ate more food. When I first started this, I just left off all the carbs. After I saw the famous white coat video of Dr. Westman, he said, keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. So I thought, well, 0 is fewer than 20. So the next time I ate, I just left off the carbs, which means no bread, no pasta, no rice, no potatoes, no starchy vegetables, no sweet potatoes, no carrots, no beets. Generally things that grow below the ground, as a rule, are high in starch because their job growing below the ground is to gather starch and sugar to provide for the greens above. So I just did that. I luxuriated in bacon, eggs. We're big ribeye fans around here. Ranch dressing, broccoli with butter. Keep in mind, vegetables are not unlimited foods. This is not some of these programs where veggies are considered free foods. All the carbs I get essentially are from vegetables. So they can't be free foods for me. And there's not a minimum requirement of leafy greens. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, if you like them, eat them. If they work for you, eat them. Do what works for you. I am not here to judge or preach. I'm here to share what worked for me and what I think would probably work for many other people in my situation. Very heavy for 30 years, given up losing weight. I just didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. You do what works for you. Don't let any talking head in Facebook, YouTube, on a blog, or anywhere else, or particularly in an ad, tell you what to do. Okay, so how much food? This comes up. I don't know. I don't know how much I ate at the beginning because I didn't measure it, because all I wanted to do was make sure I left off the carbs. What did happen pretty quickly was I realized I don't want that much food. I'm talking about within a week. I still luxuriated. I just didn't do it with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast started going later, and lunch started not existing, and then dinner became smaller, and now I'm very often will eat essentially a meal a day. Sometimes, and a meal, keep in mind, a meal doesn't have to be on a dinner plate full. A meal can be on a salad plate full. It's like, how big is a haystack? Well, it's as big as it is. How big is a meal? It's as big as it is. And sometimes a meal is 2 boiled eggs. So don't, if you want to measure. The problem with answering the question, how much food should I eat, is the same problem with answering how many calories should I eat. I don't know. When asked, I don't believe Dr. Westman will say how many calories you should eat. Dr. Finney, when asked, says, I have no idea how many calories you should eat. Don't let an app tell you how many calories you should eat, and for goodness sake, don't let a government guideline tell you. They're the ones that brought us the food pyramid, y'all. Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Don't be fearful if you find at the end of the day you're still not hungry. People reach out and say, I'm really concerned. I haven't eaten all day. I'm having to make myself eat. Don't do that. Don't make yourself eat. If you're not hungry, don't eat. If a government guideline told you that you had to have X number of bowel movements a day, and you found that you needed fewer bowel movements a day, what are you going to do? Force yourself to have a bowel movement? No. If you're not hungry, don't eat. If you don't have to pee, don't pee. If you're not hungry, sleepy, don't take a nap. Listen to your body. And it's okay. Some days your energy requirements will be different than other days. So the amount of food you eat will be different. So on some days, you may eat 1,200 calories by mouth. Other days you might eat 800. Other days you might eat 1,400, depending on your energy requirements, if you're actually eating only when actually hungry. Now, someone would say, wait, 800 calories, that's far too few. You will put yourself in starvation mode and you will wreck your metabolism. Personally, I think saying that if you reduce your calories by a certain amount, your body's going to go into starvation mode is an insult to those people in the world who are actually starving. Come on, guys. Cutting back to one large meal and a couple of nibbles a day is not putting yourself in starvation mode. It's not starving. And our metabolisms change with age. They change with weight. They just change. You're not going to wreck your metabolism. And also on those days where maybe I consumed by mouth 700 or 800 calories, my body, by definition, got all the calories it needed for the energy requirements that day. It was eating the calories off of my onboard stores of fat, which was the whole point. So how much food should you eat? I have no idea. You may not have an idea because it might have been so long since you have left that up to your body telling you of true hunger, not brain hunger, not your brain telling you to eat more. That sounds kind of borderline, what? If you are burning glucose for fuel, your brain needs a constant stream of glucose because it can't be stored in the blood. So your brain will tell you to eat more. That's why you can eat a meal and 2.5 hours later, you think you have to eat again because your brain's telling you to get more glucose. When you're burning ketones or fat for fuel, your brain is happy percolating along, burning ketones, ready. There are tens of thousands of calories of energy on your body right now, and they can be mobilized and your brain burns them. So your brain won't be saying every 2.5 hours, feed me. Hunger is a different sensation. I'll say they're not even related sensations when you're burning fat for fuel than when you're burning glucose. Because one, your brain is telling you something, it's brain hunger. The other is, I'm empty. I'm really empty. And I'll eat. So, figure that out. Listen to that. Your body will talk to you. Not unlike your body talking to you when your joints ache and you're lethargic and you're depressed and you have acid reflux. Your body is talking to you. We just choose to ignore it and take a pill, go to the doctor. They prefer to give us a pill. Many of those things are alleviated through food alone. So how much to eat? Who knows? Don't eat if you're not hungry and stop when you're satisfied. When to eat? Well, that kind of dovetails right into it. Eat when you're hungry. There are those that feel strongly and like the structure of what is called intermittent fasting. That means feeding windows. Do what works for you. If you like the structure, if it makes sense to you, if you get things from it, and I've experimented with fasting, not intermittent, but actual fasting, like for I think I got up to over 48 hours. It's like 2 full days and then into the next day. And it was okay. I will tell you, I started having intrusive thoughts of food, which I didn't want. I wasn't doing it for weight loss. I was doing it to experiment. My husband was out of the country, and it was a good time for me to try. To me, it's a little bit gimmicky because some days you need to eat more than others. Some days your energy and activity levels warrant different things. And to me, arbitrarily not eating, if you're flat out empty and hungry, makes no more sense than arbitrarily eating because it's breakfast. Don't eat if you're not hungry. If you're hungry, eat, but stop when you're satisfied. So when to eat? People say, is it a problem to eat after 7 p.m. or 6 p.m.? No. Why would it be? logically. Our body is going to process the food. Yeah, if you don't like going to bed having just eaten, if you don't like sleeping rather, having just eaten, then don't. But there's nothing magical about the hour hands on the clock. Your body's going to do its job. It's going to digest the food. So when to eat? Eat when you're hungry. But maybe the what and when really are backseat to the why. And that can be the most vexing problem. The most vexing challenge on any nutrition protocol. But when you get down to it, why are you eating? Are you eating out of habit or out of hunger? Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted because there are some comments, and I hope everything's okay. Apparently Faye asked a question, and many people are saying yes. I don't know what the question was. I assume someone will let me know if you can't hear or see me. Why are you eating? And that really is. There is more than one answer to that. Sometimes we eat out of habit. We eat because it's in front of us. We eat because we've always eaten dinner at 5 o'clock. We eat because you just laid down a meal for your lovely mate or your kids. You eat because your office brought in lunch. You eat because you're at a party and you don't want anyone giving you a hard time. So all of those whys are more about actual just behavior. Just, you don't have to eat because you're at a party. But let's get into the deeper why. If your answer is why, because I lead a very stressful life. I've got a lot of trauma that's going on. And a lot of people do. I mean, this is the downfall. And I am not about to judge or minimize anyone's situation. I will tell you that I justified being careless with my food because of traumatic things that happened. The least of the traumatic things that happened to me were cancer diagnoses, 3 of them. But I used those. And using food to cope, in air quotes, with a problem is a very accepted rationale. I've done it. I'm going to bet you've done it. But let's think about that. If you are using food to cope with stress, anxiety, depression, pressure, if you're using food to cope, you are, by definition, not coping with any of it. You're avoiding coping. You're avoiding dealing. You are, by definition, not coping. You're not helping yourself. So what you end up with the end is your issues are still there. The stress is still there. The sadness, the depression, the trauma, the pressure. And now you just feel like a big turd because you ate food you know you didn't want to eat or shouldn't have eaten. It makes you feel bad physically. It makes you feel bad emotionally. It makes you feel like a failure. So now you've got all the original things plus all that. Imagine an alcoholic getting away with saying, yes, I use alcohol because I cope with things so much better when I'm drunk. That's almost never the case. Bad decision making, almost always. So you would say, no, that's a justification. No, that's not true. So if you've been telling yourself, you stress eat, well, the stress isn't really making you eat. Stress is a whole other thing. You're allowing yourself to eat because you're stressed, and it's understandable. We have all done it. It is almost a right in Western culture, at least in American culture, to eat because you're stressed. or happy or celebrating or mourning. Really, what is food doing about any of those states of being? So step away. Yes, guess what? The stressors will still be there. But you're not going to deal with them any better when you're feeling guilty or sluggish or depressed or like a failure. So the what is keep your carbs below 20. How much? Don't know. Eat when you're hungry, and that's it. It really is that straightforward. Don't eat if you're not hungry. You're not going to wreck your metabolism. You're not going to wreck your metabolism if you're eating good, nutritious food when you're hungry. The when, eat when you're hungry. And then the why, it really should because you're hungry. It should be because you're hungry. So, if you notice a thread, the eat when you're hungry, don't eat if you're not hungry, that is consistent among all of those things. Food no longer enhances my life. It never did enhance my life. And it really wasn't an escape. It was, well, it was an escape. I was escaping the situation. It never fixed anything, and it just made things worse. It made me absent myself from my own life. And I understand, for I had a session this morning, and a person shares with me, she said, I bet you've seen all the things on social media where it's telling people to stop trying to get smaller. Because if you get smaller, your personality gets smaller. Keep your bigness, your curves, your stuff, and keep your personality big. Balls, I say to that. For most people. For some people, they celebrate their curves and their roundness and their plumpness. They embrace it. They love it. They prefer it. For them, I cannot disagree. But I'll tell you, my personality's gotten a lot better and bigger since I've gotten smaller because I was hiding my light under a bushel for 30 years. Under a bushel of fat, almost literally a bushel of fat. Don't stress of it. You don't have to become a skinny mini. I'm not skinny. I'm content. So I'm content at my size. If you're content at a larger size, fantastic. If you're healthy, your blood markers are good, and you're productive, embrace that. But if you're not, if you feel like you want to make a change, try this very simple approach. You don't have to buy a product. I've talked about that many times. No products to enhance the burning of fat. No pills, no injections, no liquids, no additives, no supplements. We take a multivitamin here, and I do supplement with a little bit of added magnesium because I tend to run low on magnesium. It's the way my body chemistry is. It's just food. And you'll think it can't be that simple because there's been some really vested interests involved in making sure it's not that simple. Making sure you do need programs and paid meetings and packaged food and things like that. You don't. Now, lecture over. I am going to show you something. Look what I've got here. I don't know if you can see it because I'm short. I've got a shirt that says, and I'm on a delay so I can't see if you can see this. It reads, "Food is not the boss of me." Can you see it? Can you see it? I'm looking at it on a delay. Food is not the boss of me. And then underneath, don't keto with Casey. Thank you to my friends at campusmarketing.com. They do a great job. I love the graphic. And they're going to be on sale this afternoon, some swag. You don't need to buy t-shirts to be successful at this. This is a fun thing to do. And food is not the boss of me. And that's the whole point. You don't want food to be the boss of you either. So we've got, they'll go on the marketplace on my blog, CaseyDurango.com. And we have everything from short sleeves to long sleeves, size small up to 2X. And they're limited supply. But campusmarketing.com did a great job, and thank you very much. They are not a sponsor, but they are a friend of the show. And I want to give an update about the Go Keto with Casey Roadshow event. It is rolling along. I'm really excited about it. We now have paid registrations from, get this, people in Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, North Carolina, Natch, West Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, Minnesota, Oklahoma, and Oregon. This is going to be fun, y'all. You're going to be able to hear from Dr. Eric Westman, Jackie Eberstein, me. I'll share my thing, and each other. Part of the program will be that you will be invited up to share your story, which is a little bit different than many of the conferences, which are great and very educational. But this one is going to be even more participation involved. There is a wine reception Friday evening the 16th. You get to rub elbows with everybody, Dr. Westman, Jackie, me. And then the program is on Saturday, and we're all going to try to have a late lunch Saturday after. It's St. Patty's Day, so the reverie can continue. And then people can stay into Sunday. We can go to brunch, whatever. So the portion of the program is on Saturday, but hopefully we'll all be hanging around a little bit after. So I'm really excited about that. I'm looking for a couple of giveaways as well. Okay, I'm looking again. Faye, yes, it was why I cut it down. I can't totally give it up yet. Slowly. Okay, y'all are talking to each other. I love that. I do want to say thank you to my patrons from patreon.com, who, by the way, get a discount for the registration of the Go Keto with Casey Roadshow event, because they are a very great and supportive community. And so I'm going to give a plug. If you go to patreon.com/Go Keto with Casey, you can become a patron, where I do a lot of patron-only content. But not only do you get access to my patron-only content, whoop-de-doo, you get access to each other in the patron-only forum. Okay, commercial over. I'm going to turn it over to y'all, and I'm looking to see if does anybody have a question or comment or struggle that you want to see. Oh, and by the way, I don't know how the lighting looks where you are. We still have snow on the ground. We got about 8 inches. Beautiful snow. And although it's melting, we still have a lot of snow on the ground and have a lot of glass in my kitchen. And so the reflected light is really weird. So I don't know if I think I look like I have a pallor or something. Okay. Gina Forrest, can you type that address? I'm not sure when you mean. Patreon is Patreon, patreon.com/Go Keto with Casey, and my blog is CaseyDurango.com. And I can't type in here right now because there's a delay. How much magnesium do I take? Now this is unique to me, okay? If you are asymptomatic of things like nighttime leg cramps or tingling in your fingers and toes and things like that, which can be indications of low magnesium, if you're asymptomatic, you don't have to necessarily do anything. I have been symptomatic, and the rule of thumb is if you're having leg cramps, which is very common, and why does that happen? It's because I was checked to see if it's one of my kids texting, but it's not. Because on this way of eating, the kidneys tend to flush a lot of water. With the water goes sodium. With sodium go magnesium and potassium and calcium, all the ums. And those things help regulate nerve and muscle function. So you can get nighttime leg cramps. And here's the rule of thumb, per Dr. Stephen Finney. Get some slow-release magnesium. We buy the 5-package magnesium from Amazon of Slow Mag. No, excuse me. Mag 64, which is the generic version of Slow Mag. Of Mag 64, I might even have, no I don't. I take 3 of those a day with breakfast. So you can try that, take 3 a day, then stop. You know, if the leg cramps alleviate, never come back, you're good. If you stop and they come back, do it for 20 days. I'm sorry. Do the protocol for 20 days, then stop. If the leg cramps come back, do another 20 days, then stop. If the leg cramps don't come back, good, you're good. If they come back after that, take the 3 slow release pills for the rest of your life or until something else happens. But that's what I do. So I take 3 slow release magnesium. And I also take Epsom salt baths. I do all the other things. I have increased my sodium. So that's this. I just tend to be a little bit depleted in magnesium. It's part of my body chemistry. It's nothing I did wrong. I am seeing my reflection, which is difficult for me on the best of days, and my coloring looks terrible. I swear I've not been in prison. It really is the bright light coming in from outside. Yeesh. Sorry about that. The ketogenic diet will not make you look like you've been in prison. Oh, you want to see my top? I assume you mean my shirt. Can you see? And this is a size small. Okay? So this is a long sleeve size small. And like I said, we have up to 2X in both short sleeve and long sleeve. And they'll be $15, including shipping. Casey or anyone, I can't read the comments. They go by too quickly. Something about has anyone, I can't read them. Sorry. So I apologize for that. What makes the weight loss eating keto or being in ketosis? What makes the weight loss? You mean what's the physiologically, why does that happen? Okay, here's what happens. When you're burning glucose for fuel, and that's pretty much what's going to happen if you're eating the standard American diet, even if you're eating whole grains and things like that, doesn't matter. If it is a carbohydrate of any form, and that means starchy vegetables, grains, fruit, which is sugar, table sugar, Snickers bars, pasta, rice, crackers, those are all carbs. They're all sugar as far as your body is concerned. So you eat them, the liver goes through this very complex process, and out comes glucose for fuel. Because the human body cannot store more than about 5 grams of glucose or sugar in the entire bloodstream at any given time, the pancreas provides insulin to push any excess glucose out of the blood and stores it in cells for future use as nice fat. The thing is, we tend not to tap into those fat stores, many of us. Some people don't need to eat this way. Some people are naturally trim, healthy. Their triglycerides are great. Their blood glucose is great. Their blood pressure is perfect. But that's a portion, small, of the population. Some people will always be fine no matter what they eat. Some people regulate things through low fat. It works for them. Some people, Weight Watchers works for them. But I'm going to say most people will find themselves eventually, either earlier in life, as I did, or later in life, as most people do, becoming resistant to that insulin. So the glucose is there, the pancreas sends out the insulin to push the glucose out of the blood into the cells, and after 20 or 30 years of this, the pancreas says, you know what, I have done my job, I'm really tired, you're not getting the hint, you're on your own. And when you become insulin resistant, that's when type 2 diabetes is end stage insulin resistance. You've been becoming insulin resistant for 15, 20, 25, 30 years. This is end stage insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes. You go to the doctor, they say, here's some insulin or some metformin, take this and make sure you keep your carbs up. It's loco. When the solution is keep your carbs low, stop pushing out glucose, the insulin is not activated, so what happens? Our body is perfectly happy, and some would say prefer to burn fat. That stored fat that we were putting away, our bodies were putting away for a rainy day, but it never rained. Today's the rainy day. No more glucose. Oops, what do? I'm going to start burning ketones for fuel, which means fat. So it goes around and eats the body fat. It's fantastic. Now, this is not a weight loss nutrition protocol. What? Say what? Yes, it's not a weight loss protocol. It's a fat burning protocol. So if you cut down on the carbs and you're great and you're in ketosis, and then you decide, I'm going to really jumpstart this. I'm going to start drinking bulletproof coffee and eat fat bombs and take MCT oil. Well, fine if it works for you. But if your body is getting all of its energy needs and it's burning fat for fuel and you're drinking it all, it's not going to tap into your rainy day fund. And so don't blame keto for what the MCT oil did. Don't blame keto for what the almond flour did or what the net carbs did. You want to keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day, eat fatty sources of protein, and don't eat if you're not hungry. Nowhere in that protocol does it say, take your coffee mug and load it up with 400, 500 calories of fat. I'm sipping my coffee, but it's got a little Splenda and 2 teaspoons of heavy cream, which I do measure. So, thank you for that question. Okay, you guys are answering each other's questions. I really appreciate it. I don't have a pancreas or a gallbladder. Okay? Thank you for sharing, Faye. It's okay to do this without a gallbladder. Now, if you don't have a pancreas, you're type 1 diabetic. That's a different thing. Type 2 diabetes is when you have a pancreas. Your body just is just tired of, the insulin is there, your body's just not responding to it, you're insulin resistant. Type 1 diabetics don't have insulin. Very different situation. All right, I really am going to start wrapping this up in just a couple, so we can tie this up in about 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you for allowing me into your kitchen, living room, or wherever you are. I apologize for my prison pallor. Whew. And thank you to all the patrons, some of whom are here. And okay, look, they're going by too quickly. I am sorry. Someone said they lost 7 pounds. Lost 7 pounds and nothing since. I'm getting frustrated. Okay, there are a lot of questions to answer about that. Are you eating total carbs and not net? Are you doing bulletproof coffee? 7 pounds in 2 weeks? And how long's it been? That's fine. How much do you have to lose overall? Are you eating only when you're hungry? Do you have a lot of internal healing to do? Some of us have inflammation. This is a very anti-inflammatory way of eating. Stick with it and try not to get focused on the scale. You will lose inches without losing weight. That's a thing. So stick to it. I'm from Puerto Rico. Here's your pizza shop right now. Wow. All right. Thank you guys. I will hope to be seeing you again. For those of you who are members of the Keto After 40 with Casey Facebook group, thank you for reporting posts to me. I am the only admin. No one else moderates. So when you tag me, it helps, or just report posts. I am going to be pretty strict about photos of fake baked goods, recipes that just aren't it. Not that I care what anybody else eats. I don't get a vote on what you eat. But it is confusing to people who are trying to get a handle on this. So if I close comments or delete posts, don't take it personally. Frankly, it's not personal because I rarely even look at the names of people. They're just, we have over 40,000 members. Excuse me, runny nose. But thank you for helping police the site for me. And if you're having friends who want to become members or you want to become members, you really do have to answer all 3 questions. If you answer 1, you're going to get declined. If you answer 2, you're going to get declined. If you answer all 3 of them, but you do it with a lot of snark, you're going to get declined. Alrighty, guys. Have a great one. It's been a great day so far here. I hope it's warm where you are, and I hope you're safe. If weekends make you struggle, be strong. You can get through this. And don't get discouraged. And don't judge your progress by anyone else's yardstick or tape measure or weight scale. Stick to the program. It really works. And repeat after me. What is the program? Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 total grams, not net, a day or fewer. Eat fatty sources of protein. Don't eat if you're not hungry. And stop eating when you're satisfied. Okay. Hey, Jean. Good to see you. Hey, I see some of my patrons. Hey, patrons. Patrons in the house. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you later. Alligator.